For once, it's not a what if video.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the MrEliMac channel with a new Pitch This video. I am your host MrEliMac, and today I have a video that is not of the type of videos that I've been doing in the past few weeks, actually, because in the past few weeks I've been doing a lot of what if videos, but this week I decided to give you a new Pitch This video that's sort of more an original idea. Instead of me trying to replace this thing for that thing, I've decided, you know what, I'm going to give you a video that's me trying to create an original, in quotes, story for a new movie, and I really hope that you all enjoy this movie. I will promise with this video I don't have a full-on concrete idea. I have a few PowerPoints here in front of me, but hopefully you all will give me a little leeway and hopefully give this video a thumbs up if you like this video. It lets me know that you like it and it helps me in the algorithm very much. Also, hit the subscribe button, that way you can be up to date with all the videos I have here on the channel. Also, hit the notification bell, that way you can be notified whenever a new video like this comes your way. So, let's get into the video where it is very much me wanting to pitch a Godzilla movie, because a Godzilla movie was actually requested to me. Someone requested that I do a Godzilla pitch, and I'm gonna be honest, I have never actually fully thought of doing a Godzilla movie. I'm not the biggest connoisseur of Godzilla. I'm not a Godzilla expert. However, I am a fan of the character. I love Godzilla movies. Whenever I watch a Godzilla movie, I'm always entertained from beginning to end. Even the MonsterVerse movies, I'm very entertained by those done by Legendary, and the most recent Godzilla -1, you need to go watch that movie. Trust me, that is a fantastic movie. One of the best movies, actually, of last year. I highly recommend everyone go watch Godzilla -1. And as you see from the thumbnail, this very much is not a sequel to Godzilla -1. No, I didn't want to do a sequel idea for Godzilla -1 for the simple fact of Toho and all the people in Japan sort of have an idea of what they want to do post Godzilla -1, and I really didn't want to step on their toes for over there. Whereas for the MonsterVerse, it's a little bit easier to do a sequel for that franchise because it's a very over-the-top franchise. It's very much reminiscent of the Showa era of Godzilla movies, mainly from like the 60s to the 70s, where it's Godzilla is now a good guy and he's fighting all these creatures that are coming to Earth and all that nonsense, that crazy nonsense. Also, with the thumbnail, I wanted to very much establish that because of sort of the introduction of Kong in the franchise with Godzilla vs. Kong, it was hard for me to think of a way to do a solo Godzilla movie. So basically this is still under the Godzilla x Kong franchise and that series of films, because again, in my mind, it's hard for me to find a way to not include Kong in this. And since Kong is sort of the big name for the other big name in the MonsterVerse, you sort of have to put them together. And it's very reminiscent to a lot of the Godzilla movies of old, because when those movies were being made, it was always, Godzilla was always like the titular character, and it would always be Godzilla versus insert bad guy name here. But it was really Godzilla and ally versus big bad guy. Like for a majority of the films, I want to say it was Godzilla and Mothra teaming up together to fight whoever the new bad guy was, even if it was titled Godzilla versus insert name here. So I very much wanted to very firmly establish that it was a Godzilla and Kong movie working together. And I don't have a title for the movie. Like, that's something I couldn't think of. I couldn't think of a title for this movie. So I very much, if you have suggestions, like after I give the pitch, if you have suggestions for what the title of this movie should be, please post them in the comments down below, because I have no idea what to call it. Also, this is to also get this ahead of things, this is sort of an idea that I have for, this is set after the New Empire, Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire. This is set after that. Do I know what's going to happen in that movie? I have no idea. I don't have a clue what's going to happen in that movie. The way I'm looking at this movie is that it is set after that movie that's coming out this year. So this is sort of a follow-up of what they do with the Scar King, and after Godzilla turns pink and purple and Kong wearing a gauntlet-esque thing on his arm. So yeah, this is a follow-up of that. And so yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and get all that little preamble out of the way. And so let's go into sort of like the basic pitch that I have here for the bullet points I have here. So it's very much Godzilla and Kong teaming up again. Of course, Son of Kong would also be in the film because he's being introduced in the New Empire. And so we're establishing those are the creatures that are on the good side, and Kong and Son of Kong are still in Hollow Earth. Godzilla is roaming through the ocean and doing his normal thing, but we are getting introduced in the film. I would introduce new villains as well that wouldn't technically be from Hollow Earth. Like one character that, though in the original Showa era was a creature of Earth, in my version here, this creature is not of Earth, and that is Abira, who in the original Showa era is a crustacean crab-like creature. It's like a smaller version, like smaller than Godzilla and Kong, but he would be a monster that would be around and sort of be someone for Godzilla to fight and for Kong to fight, because I would slowly have it to where some monsters from a different world are attacking Earth and Hollow Earth, and that would be sort of Kong sort of trying to find a way to defend his people. Because in my mind, I'm imagining that the Scar King gets defeated, and that's when Kong becomes King Kong. That is when he becomes King Kong. And what I'm imagining the new empire is going to be is Kong's new empire of being King Kong. But anyway, Abira would be one of the villains, one of the monsters that Kong and Godzilla would face. Another would be Kamacuras, who are like praying mantis-esque monsters, and they would also be serving as another monster antagonist for Godzilla and Kong to face. So it's very much, Abira and Kamacuras are very much the henchman type monsters that Godzilla and Kong are having to face. Sort of like I don't want to say Rodan from Godzilla King of the Monsters, but Rodan was not a main antagonist. Like, he was a antagonistic character, but King Ghidorah was the main antagonist of Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Rodan was just working with him. That's sort of how I look at Abira and Kamacuras in this film. And I'm not going to mention the main monster yet, because it's really this creature that is connected to fighting Godzilla and Kong, who is sort of serving as the main monster antagonist for Godzilla and Kong, is really a threat that was created by the main human antagonists in this. And for the main humans that are mainly returning from the prior Godzilla and Kong films are Rebecca Hall's character and Brian Tyree Henry's character. I mainly mention them because they are returning in Godzilla Kong the New Empire. So I'm assuming they're going to be characters that we're going to continue to follow. I don't know if there are going to be any more characters that we're going to see return in the New Empire. I'm just saying right now, Rebecca Hall and Brian Tyree Henry are returning in this. And maybe we get some new human characters, like Alexander Skarsgård isn't returning for the New Empire, but Dan Stevens is in the New Empire. Maybe Dan Stevens returns. Maybe we get a new character, maybe played by an actor like Pedro Pascal, or another actor that's willing to work in these MonsterVerse movies. Maybe we get characters from the Monarch TV show, Legacy of Monsters. Maybe we get some characters from that film into this one. I don't know. I don't know what their bigger plan is for the New Empire. I've seen Monarch, and there are a few characters that I really don't want to see return, because there are some characters that I didn't like in that. But Tim, he is a character from Monarch Legacy of Monsters. He is a character that I would like to see appear in this film, maybe even appear in the New Empire. I don't know what they're gonna do with Tim. I just like Tim in general, and I liked his character, so I would love to see Tim return. But the main human villains and sort of serving as the main antagonists of the film would be the Zillions or Xylians, aka like the villains from Planet X. Like in the original Godzilla movies, they were aliens, and in the Millennium era of Godzilla stuff from like the 2000s, they mainly wore like black leather, and they sort of served as like, oh, we're aliens and we're trying to destroy Earth or take over Earth, and we have monsters from other planets and we're using them to sort of destroy Earth. And so this would basically be the movie where I'm just like, hey, King Ghidorah was sort of like an alien monster, but we really haven't done anything with the aliens since then. Here are more aliens, and we're going to touch aliens now. We did Hollow Earth, and now here are aliens. And so the Xylians or the Zillions are sort of the main antagonists of the film, and they're sort of the ones that are bringing in Abira and Kamacuras to help weaken Earth, and they're the ones that sort of genetically altered our main monster in this film. And our main monster in the film is Gigan, who is a frequent, or like only appeared in really 3 films, but Gigan is a monster that has worked under the Zillions or the Xylians. I don't know how to pronounce them. It's been forever since I've seen those movies with the Zillions. And so Gigan was a monster from another planet that they genetically modified, added the sort of claws, and added the cyborgness of Gigan that we see in the movies, and they're sort of using Gigan as a way to destroy Earth and sort of weaken Earth in the way for them to take over and destroy it. And so it's up to the humans to really fight the Zillions and the Xylians, and it's Godzilla and Kong fighting Gigan to sort of stop the monsters from fully taking over and destroying the Earth and weakening Earth and Hollow Earth. We have Son of Kong, who would fight Abira or maybe Kamacuras for like trying, because Abira and Kamacuras are sort of smaller than Godzilla and Kong. So by this point, Son of Kong has sort of gotten bigger and gotten taller, so he would be able to fight Abira and Kamacuras by himself. And so yeah, it's just ultimately the main fight is between Godzilla and Kong. Gigan again is sort of the main antagonist in terms of the monsters, but it would be up to the humans who are fighting the Xylians. And yeah, for the basic premise of the film, that's mainly it. Maybe we see characters from prior movies in this, and again, like Tim would be my main character from the TV shows that we would bring over. But in terms of like a grander scope plot, that's really it right now that I have. Like, when it comes to Godzilla, and at least the legendary MonsterVerse, it's really hard to fully flesh out a human plot, because the human plot line is the plot line that people care the least, and it's just, oh, monsters fight. And so I very much want it to, because in the upcoming New Empire, the Scar King is sort of being teed up as the main antagonist of the film, and he is a character that's sort of new and original for the film. And for me, for the next installment, I would want a character from the Godzilla pantheon of villains to be the main antagonist, and I would want Gigan to be like that main antagonist, because for the past few films we've had a lot of Godzilla villains, and like, well, not the Mutos are not classic Godzilla villains, but in King of the Monsters we had Rodan and King Ghidorah as the main antagonist, with Mothra in as the supporting protagonist, and in Godzilla vs. Kong we had Mechagodzilla. And so I thought, oh, what better villain to have in this one than Gigan? And also, we haven't touched on the alien plot lines for a while. We haven't touched the alien plot lines that were very prominent in the Godzilla movies of the 70s, which is 60s and 70s, which were a little bit more shocking than when I did the research on. But I thought this would be a great way to introduce the Zillions or the Xylians. Again, I don't know how to properly pronounce their names. And we would have the humans ultimately, like the Rebecca Halls and Brian Tyree Henrys, and whoever would be sort of like the main physical human, again, maybe a Pedro Pascal, like have them defeat the Xylians and have them either be killed or go like retreat and never come back. and then Abira, Kamacuras, and Gigan would be killed, and like the alien threat would be gone forever. Like, we wouldn't have an alien threat. Now, I do have an idea of what to do for the next one. Like, the next one would just be some of what Gigan has done to terraform the planet, and maybe what the Xylians have done to terraform the planet a little bit, creates a new monster, and that would sort of be the way I would end the MonsterVerse, which would have the main antagonist be Destroyer, and it would be Godzilla and Kong destroy all monsters, and it would just be Destroyer trying to destroy all the Titans and all the monsters that exist, and ultimately we'd get this big fight between Kong and Godzilla, where Godzilla is most likely like fully killed by Destroyer, but in the act of being killed by Destroyer, it's Kong and Godzilla ultimately killing Destroyer as well. Like, that's sort of what I would do for like a final installment of the MonsterVerse, but again, that's just a small sampling of what I would do for the monsters. For that human plot, I have no idea what I would do. But yeah, what did you think about this pitch for a Godzilla sequel? I know this isn't like the longest video on the planet of what I've done, but this is basically what I thought of when someone asked me, oh, do a pitch for a Godzilla movie. I'm like, alright, here you go. It's basic, but it's plot. It's a pitch that I have. So what were your thoughts on the pitch? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you indifferent to it? Whatever your thoughts, post them in the comments down below. Also, again, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That way you can be up to date with all the videos I have here on the channel. Also, hit the notification bell. That way you can be notified whenever a new video like this comes your way. But until then, I've been MrEliMac, you've been the audience, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day.